Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field like all day light, all night light, on the blue light, offense light, defense light, his squad light, house call light, and the sound light, and the sound light, and the sound light.
I'ma do this here forever. EQ. Forever. Triune. Forever. Yeah. Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Let's go. All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Y'all road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My job is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
Welcome everybody to the Short Sports Show. I am your host Daniel Short. Today is Monday, November 23rd, 2015. A great slate of college games and NFL games that just happened, and I'm sorry we're having audio tech problems here. I cannot hear where the sound is because I know the first two episodes or the past two episodes you guys could barely even hear me. I'm trying to play the music, so I actually have no idea. I can't hear a thing on audio, so you might not even be listening to music now. But anyways, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have a great show. We got lots of news to talk about. Sadly, a ton of injuries have hit just everybody. It seems like it's hit everybody now. And now people know the pain that TCU feels. But anyways, we got that. We have coaching news. Now there are 13, possibly 14 college openings, head coaching jobs right now or about to happen. It's unbelievable. We have so much to talk about, and we will start with college football first. But before we get started on this beautiful Monday morning show, got a couple things to talk about. First, follow me on Twitter at short_sports247 and Facebook, The Short Sports Show. All links are in the description below, no matter where you're listening. You can find them all below. Also, the song that you guys were hearing or possibly still listening to, probably not anymore, is from Triune and featuring EQ. It is called Forever. You can buy it off his new album, Raised to Fail, Born to Succeed, on iTunes now. And if you just want the song Forever, you can buy it on iTunes as well. Download it on, I think Google Play has something for it as well. Spotify, just about anywhere. Get it. It's awesome. He's letting us use it as our intro for the show from now on, which is amazing because I absolutely love the song, even though I can't get as hyped. I wasn't able to hear it right now. I don't know what is going on with my audio stuff, but thankfully you guys can hear me, and I'm sure you guys heard the song too. I just can't listen to it, but it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, you can follow him on his website, www.therealtriune.com. Follow him on Twitter at iTriune, Facebook as well, Instagram, his YouTube channel. All links are down below in the description. No matter where you're listening to, you can find it there. Thank you again to Triune UNO Entertainment and EQ for letting us use the song. I absolutely love it. Gets me pumped. I have to listen to it, I guess, after the show. I don't know why. Also, if you're listening to on Spreaker, you can chat as I'm doing right now. You can chat through the show on Spreaker's now updated thing, where I can get what you guys want, what you guys want to say, some input through the show, whatever it might be. Go on Spreaker.com while the show is live. Again, we are every Monday and Friday mornings, and you can chat through there, which is awesome. Spreaker Studios letting us do this now. It's awesome. I absolutely love this from Spreaker, and all the other good stuff. So, anyways, here we go. college football news, and there was a report, of course, a couple days ago on Saturday that head coach Les Miles met with LSU officials last week to discuss his future. The New Orleans Times reported that the discussion was centered on how and when the two parties would be parting ways. During the conversation, the realization that Miles' days are numbered set in with LSU head football coach, who discussed a retirement from LSU following the 2016 season. Very, very key right there. There isn't a whole lot of news. I know one reporter was hacked on his Twitter and said, he was verified and everything, said that LSU head coach Les Miles was fired. According to his ESPN source, obviously that was wrong because Les Miles has not been fired. So if you've seen anything that said that he has been fired, it is wrong. He is still the head coach for LSU. And, I talked on my show on Friday about him being safe, that he shouldn't be fired. But then came Saturday. Then came Ole Miss. And then came a 38-17 loss to Ole Miss. It is crazy what has happened with LSU. Now, I mean, you're 7-3 or 8-3, whatever it might be. Do we really need to part ways with Les Miles? I like the fact that if he can just stay one more year and whatever happens, and retire, or most likely, just retire at the end of the 2016 season, I think that'd be perfect. Let the recruits know, but say, hey, we're going to fix this, and I'm not ending on a bad note. We still have Leonard Fournette next year. You still got some returnees at wide receiver. Defense is always going to be there. Pump up the new recruits that are coming in for the 2016 class and say, hey, let's lay it all on the field. I don't understand why it's already time for, people saying Les Miles should be fired now and stuff. I find it kind of crazy. I mean, you lose 3 games. Yes, he's lost them in 3 straight. It's not like he's lost them, obviously Arkansas, they could probably beat anybody. So I'm not going to take the Arkansas loss as something of a bad loss or anything. But you lost to Alabama, Arkansas, and now Ole Miss, which Ole Miss beat Alabama. So apparently Ole Miss is back to being good again. So you're really going to say that Les Miles should be fired after losing to 3 good teams? I don't know. Leonard Fournette obviously hasn't been playing well in his last 3 games. He's averaged 77 rushing yards per game. He now, in those 3 games, he only has total of 230 rushing yards. A little over, I think. I don't have the exact stats on me, but I saw something about 230 rushing yards in the last 3 games. He was averaging almost 200 yards per game before this 3-game losing streak. So obviously the offense hasn't been working out. I don't know. I don't think it's right to fire Les Miles. If he does go, I think he would be a pretty hot commodity somewhere else, picking him up. Maybe to like a Maryland or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's just my take on LSU. I don't think they should fire Les Miles. Let him finish out the year. Now, if he lost every single game the rest of the year, then you might go, okay, what has happened? What's going on here? But then again, I'll have to pull up the schedule, check out who the rest of your schedule is. But you've already played Bama. You lost to them. Whatever. Lost to a good Arkansas team that probably could beat just about anybody in the country right now. They are playing really well. And Ole Miss, I mean, you never know who you're going to get. You got, obviously, they played the team that beat Alabama. So, we'll see. Number 10, Baylor. How do they do this? Check this out. They lost their starting quarterback, Jarrett Stidham, to an injury midway through its 45-35 win over number 6 Oklahoma State on Saturday night. The true freshman quarterback took a hit along the Baylor sideline late in the second quarter and never really seemed to recover. He started limping, and then when he headed to the locker room at halftime, it just said, you know what, that's it. I can't go. So then he was replaced by a backup wide receiver, but also the third-string quarterback in Chris Johnson. who played the entire second half and only just, won the game on the road against Oklahoma State for them. Baylor head coach Art Briles said Stidham had an injured right ankle and hand after entering the game with a back injury. He already had a back injury before the game, and then his right ankle, and then his hand gets hurt during the game. And the status for Friday's game against number 18 TCU is obviously uncertain to the head coach, and that's crazy because now, we talked before the season, it all comes down Baylor TCU. That's the winner of the Big 12 championship. They'll both be undefeated by then. Boykin versus, Seth Russell. Let's go at it again. Round 2. Let's see who's got it. Let's see who has the most firepower. Then TCU is infected by the injury bug all season long. And now Baylor has got a little taste of it. I think it traveled down to Waco, and it's been biting some of them since Seth Russell. They've had a few injuries on the defensive line, and now in the quarterback situation. Now your top 2 quarterbacks might be out. Now you have Chris Johnson. Now both teams have to plan. Baylor has to plan for Bram Kohlhausen or whatever his name is for TCU. They got to train for him and Trevon Boykin. You don't know if he's ready to go or not. And now TCU has to train for and game plan for Chris Johnson and Jarrett Stidham to see who's going to go at it. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy game. This is obviously not the game both Baylor and TCU wanted at the end of the year. Now, Baylor, they still have a chance to win at least a share of the Big 12 championship. Or actually, I guess they could still win it all if they beat TCU and Oklahoma beats. Let's see, I don't know. I guess Oklahoma State would have to. I guess it's just a share from now on. I don't really know. This Big 12 is so freaking weird. But yeah, so Stidham, anyways, for him, he was 12 of 21 for 258 yards and 1 touchdown, helping Baylor to a 24-14 halftime lead before leaving the game. Now Johnson, he only had 4 career pass attempts before Saturday. He wasn't like Stidham. Stidham played every single game before Seth Russell went out. It was garbage time, but he still got game experience, and that's what helped him get better. Johnson, on the other hand, only had 4 career pass attempts. He entered the game, and he finished 5 of 10, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not the greatest, but he did connect to a KD Cannon on a 72-yard go route that just absolutely burned Oklahoma State's defense, something TCU could not do at all throughout the game. So this worries me that Baylor, they can continue no matter. It's not a system thing. TCU basically has the same system. May not be as great, but it's the same system. And it looks like it's coaching at the quarterback position that TCU has the lesser advantage at. We have Trevon Boykin, obviously very great, coached him up well, and is determination to become the better quarterback out of all. That was on Boykin. But after that, Boykin goes down. We have Foster Sawyer go in. I don't know if he was playing. I don't know what he was doing. If you watch the TCU Oklahoma game, I mean, my God. He connects on a long throw to Colby Listenby. It was still a high throw, and it was great. Got the touchdown, or got 2 great passes on his first drive, or second drive of the game, and great job. Woo! But then after that, he lost it. He throws 3 interceptions. One of them, he stared down all his receivers the entire time. It was obvious. He was just staring at one receiver, didn't go through his progressions. And, it's asking a lot for a freshman quarterback, to go out there against the Sooners on the road to, do a few things. But you're still a quarterback. You got to go through all those progressions, and he just stared at one receiver the entire time before the play happened, during the play during happening, and that's how he got picked. Zach Sanchez, obviously a great cornerback, had the 2 picks, and the slant one, he just bit on it and got it. But if you saw the other throws, the 2 other interceptions that were just lobbed up in the air, but he put power on it. It was like he showed all his effort, but it was he was punting the ball with his hand. The hang time on those throws, any of us could have got. Any of us. Now, one of the interceptions, our wide receiver, he didn't even fight for Emmanuel Porter. He didn't even fight for the ball, and got picked. On the other one, I think was the Listen B. He did all he could. He broke the DB's ankles, got him bad, opened up, but the ball should have been placed on the outside each time, and it wasn't. Safety picks off the ball. Not much you can do as a receiver. So Sawyer obviously isn't the answer. Bram goes in and almost leads to TCU to victory. Probably should have led him to victory. We'll talk about the TCU game in just a bit. Trust me, I got some words about that. But yeah, so the Baylor TCU game, it's I don't know how exciting it's going to be, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to put my eyes and my heart through it once more. Quarterback Baker Mayfield, he suffered a head injury during the second quarter of the Oklahoma TCU game, leaving his status for the Sooners' regular season finale at Bedlam series at Oklahoma State next weekend unclear. The Heisman Trophy hopeful took a shot to the back of the helmet by TCU linebacker Ty Summers, who was ejected for targeting, and we're going to talk about that just in a second. Trust me. Mayfield stayed in the game for the rest of the first half, but was pulled and replaced by Trevor Knight after admitting to doctors during halftime that he had a headache. Head coach Bob Stoops said he didn't immediately know, and I think he did, if Mayfield would – oh, no, sorry. I was getting ahead of myself. If Mayfield would be available to play at Oklahoma State, which lost his first game of the season again to Baylor. The Sooners can clinch the Big 12 title with a victory in Stillwater. So, real quick about the Mayfield injury. Now, for us TCU fans, and if you were tracking the TCU OU game, Ty Summers goes in, hits him with the helmet to helmet, and Mayfield gets hurt. Of course, Sooner fans saying, oh, that was on purpose. He took out Mayfield on purpose. Look, Mayfield was 9 of 20, 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, the 2 touchdowns were quick little throws. They weren't like they were beating TCU. He was 9 of 20. He came in as the leading active FBS quarterbacks in passing efficiency with 70%. And TCU, somehow, their defense, which is the first time all year we've been able to say the defense did its job this game. Basically, even though they were down 23-17 at halftime, that was because the offense had 3 interceptions. That was on TCU's fault, on defense fault. Sorry. But anyways, saying it was on purpose. If you watch it again, and if you watch on slow-mo, then that's just you're dumb to watch it in slow-mo, because did the game happen in slow motion? Obviously not. So watching in slow-mo is going to make everything worse. You should only watch slow-mo when trying to see if the knee was down before a ball comes out or something for a fumble. If you watch it full action, from play to play, from beginning to end, Summers was going down because Mayfield was going down as well. He was aiming. If you look at it, doesn't matter what angle you look at it. If you look at it, you'll see that Summers was going for the back shoulder area, hip area. The hit obviously took his head. Mayfield went at a weird angle, sliding down but falling forward, and took the hit to the helmet. So it was not Mayfield's fault. It was not Summers' fault. Now, was it targeting because how the hit happened? Absolutely, it was helmet to helmet. Was it on purpose that Ty Summers was targeting? No. It's a weird thing. He wasn't like, all right, he's going down. Let me go straight. Let me hit his head. That was not the call. Now, obviously, OU fans were like, well, if that happened to Boykin, you guys would be all crazy and upset that it was on purpose. True, I'd be upset, obviously. But if you watch the hit, you see that there was no intentional targeting for Ty Summers. It was just the hit that was helmet to helmet. So there's just that. What else was I going to say? Now, the only thing I was upset about, obviously we're going to continue to go through some news and we'll recap some of these games. But with the TCU Oklahoma, last thing, final score was 30-29. Now, and a lot of TCU fans were upset that they went for Chew at the end, and after Patterson said that, if we go 3 overtimes with them, win or lose, that we're not going to be ready for Baylor, and that you shouldn't be looking ahead and all this other crap. Well, Patterson, first of all, is right. If we go we go multiple overtimes with Oklahoma, and then we got to play Friday, That is going to be one tough job to do. It's already tough enough with all the injuries and stuff that have happened to TCU. Thing is, we wouldn't be complaining if he got it. Was I upset that we went for 2? Kind of, sort of. I think it was just more because we didn't get it. I think I liked the call. I was just more upset at the time that we just didn't get it. Because we had an open receiver, and Sean Nixon back of the end zone, just Oklahoma made a better play, and that linebacker or safety was ready, and he jumped it and batted the ball down. Had he slipped or just kept rushing, Bram just lobs it over and Sean Nixon catches it, TCU wins. But all of this could have been avoided, and TCU would have won the game. And I'm not trying to do the woulda, coulda, shoulda thing and being biased towards TCU. Check this out. If you watch the game, in the second, or people are saying the third quarter, I thought it was in the first or second quarter, but people were saying the third. Or actually, I guess it had to be because it was 27 or 23-7 halftime. God, I didn't think I watched the whole game. In the third quarter, TCU, they scored a touchdown, make it 13-23, and then Patterson decides to go for 2 to try to make it a 15-23 lead. I have no idea why we were going for 2 in the third quarter, not the last play of the game. If we kick the extra point, it's 14-23. Basically, what I'm saying is, then we score a touchdown because obviously TCU, that's what they did. They scored a touchdown at the end. Had they had kicked the extra point earlier, that would have made a tied ball game at 30-30. Then all you got to do is kick that extra point again. 31-30, you win. I mean, there's a few seconds left, but OU had no timeouts left, and they had a long ways to travel. TCU wins this game. We're talking about a different outcome. Now, obviously, the committee is going to drop TCU out of it. It's so funny because the AP poll came out. TCU was 11 in the AP poll, and they dropped to 15 after almost beating Oklahoma on the road with our second and third string quarterbacks. That's what I just don't like. Is just that the lack of respect for TCU. That's my only thing. That is my only thing. If we get that 2-point conversion at the end, if the Oklahoma doesn't swat it down, do we still drop out of the rank? Or do we still keep dropping? Do we only move up a spot? Do we stay the same spot? I mean, that's what I would love to ask some of the voters for the AP poll, some of the committee, Jeff Long. I keep tweeting him. I know he won't respond, but I keep tweeting him. What's his excuse going to be now? That's my thing. That's enough TCU rant. I know you guys don't want to hear it, but that's all I want to know. TCU's at 18 in the college football playoff poll. They lost to an Oklahoma team. Both losses have been to a top 10 team. I think they both have been at 6 or 7 with Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. So I guess that automatically means we should be out of top 25. But, you know, let's leave Ole Miss and other teams in there and Temple and stuff. But, hey, it's cool. It's cool. Anyways, Iowa State, they fired their head coach, Paul Rhodes, and it'll be effective after the season. So he will still coach and finish the season Saturday at West Virginia. He went 32-54 in 7 seasons. And check this out. I had no idea. But before the 2012 season, Paul Rhodes and Iowa State agreed to a 10-year, $20 million contract. And his buyout is roughly $4.5 million under the terms of the deal. That's ridiculous. A 10-year, $20 million. Ridiculous. That is crazy. But I guess, you know, when you have somewhat of a successful couple of years at Iowa State, then you deserve that amount of money in years. I don't know. But the past 3 years have just been struggling for Paul Rhodes. He's gone 7-26 overall and 4-23 in the Big 12. Iowa State shut out Texas 24-0 was probably their highlight reel, which is still funny to this day. But they still could have beat Oklahoma State and Kansas. They let both of those leads slip late in the fourth quarter. And you got to imagine, if Iowa State beats Oklahoma State, they beat Kansas State. And possibly what if they had beat Baylor this year? They were in it all the way. Iowa State just made some terrible calls at the end of the game. Does Paul Rhodes still keep his job? Does he get another 5-year extension if he beats all those teams? I don't know. But yeah, Iowa State, it's weird. It's weird. Notre Dame has also been fighting the injury bug, as now they have lost cornerback I can't even say. I said it earlier. God, I practiced this name and I just screwed it up now. Caviar Russell? I'm going to go with that. Well, miss 6 to 8 weeks with the right tibia fracture, head coach Brian Kelly said Sunday. Kelly also said that starting running back C.J. Prosise is doubtful for number 4 Irish upcoming game against the number 11 Stanford Cardinal due to an high left ankle sprain. Both players suffered their injuries in 19-16 victory over Boston College at Fenway Park, which, if you saw the photos, I wasn't able to watch the actual game. I saw highlights. Actually uploaded some highlights on YouTube. Excuse me, allergies. But that game, it was so beautiful. It was very beautiful. I really liked it. I think that was awesome, Fenway. Obviously, I don't know what the seating was like. I don't know if it was good for any fans there to actually they enjoyed watching it from the stands, but it looked awesome. And I think, and I hope somebody, Boston College and Notre Dame, one of them or both, continue to play at Fenway Park, because it's definitely an amazing venue. But back to Russell, he had started all 11 games this season and is second on the Irish in tackles with 60, including 3.5 for loss. He had 2 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles as well. A 4-year junior, Russell started all 26 games in the first 2 years with the Irish in 2012 and 2013, but he missed all of 2014 last season in part of an academic-related suspension. He was part of all of that. He suffered the fracture late in the fourth quarter when hitting running back Tyler Rose hard and knocking the ball loose with 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the game. Kelly said Russell will have surgery. It had surgery actually last night, and they inserted a rod into his leg. The coach said it was unlikely that Russell could play again this season anytime before a potential national championship game on January 11th. So it looks like that would be the next time. But thankfully, if there's any good news out of it, that he is still I believe they said he was a redshirt junior. I think. Yeah, because he redshirted last year, so I believe he's still a redshirt junior. So, yeah, fourth-year junior, excuse me. So, basically redshirt junior. So, he still could play next year if he doesn't, want to enter the NFL draft. He doesn't feel like, because of this injury, it's going to knock him out for, draft status or whatnot. He could still play next year for the Irish. C.J. Prosise leads Notre Dame with 1,000 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns. His 57 rushing yards over Boston College put him over the 1,000 rushing yards. And he was apparently the fourth quickest player in school history to get that. Freshman Josh Adams has filled Prosise in the past, tallying 589 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. So rushing game's still going to be there for the Irish no matter what. But at cornerback, it's going to be a competition between junior Devin Butler, sophomore Nick Watkins, and freshman Nick Coleman. We'll all get opportunities this week, according to Kelly, to take the starting role. And probably the biggest news from Saturday is Ezekiel Elliott and Ohio State players. Well, actually, just 2 of them. Ezekiel Elliott and Cardale Jones, both of them declaring for the NFL draft. Ezekiel Elliott played his last game at home in the Horseshoe for the Ohio State Buckeyes. After starting the week in the hospital, no one really knew that he was in the hospital with a previously undisclosed infection on his leg. And if you see the video on YouTube that I have on the Short Sports Show, check it out. Link is in the description below. Subscribe while you're there as well. It's a big, nasty bulge right on his left leg. It's just, it's nasty. The junior returned to the lineup Saturday. He declared himself fully fit and then ripped the play calling. And the 17-14 loss to number 9 Michigan State at the Horseshoe. Take a listen to what he had to say.
What are you feeling right now?
It's kind of the all. It's been a real rough week for me. No one knows this, but we kind of kept this on the wraps. But earlier this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was hospitalized. I had an infection in my leg, and And honestly, I didn't even think I was going to be able to play during those days. It really took a toll on my body, but I was able to get back and practice Thursday and play in the game. But, about what happened today is just, it's kind of like a bad dream. Offense had a rough day. I think I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the play calling. I'm disappointed in the situations we were put in. And I wish it all played out differently.
Zeke, is it disappointing to have only 11 carries and what a lot of people are expecting might be a showcase for not only you but this offense?
It's very disappointing. In the one drive that we had where we kind of had some momentum when we scored after the strip stack, the plays we ran a lot of gap schemes and we were gashing them. And you guys saw that on that drive, and we had a lot of momentum. And honestly.
And we checked it out. Awesome news, guys. Apparently, you guys weren't hearing a thing. I'm pretty sure. We're checking out the output and stuff like that. So sorry about the technical difficulties. We're gonna try to get it up and going right now. But yeah, apparently because it decided to switch on me. Man. All right. Well, we're gonna have to work on that in just a second here. I'll try to get through the show. Basically, what he said was he was upset with the play calling and that, they had specific play calls that were working for them and that he liked, and that it wasn't working, that they continued to call different plays even though he asked for them to be called. Wasn't happening. And yeah, so hopefully, I think, hold on, we might get it.
What are you feeling right now?
It's kind of the all. It's been a real rough week for me.
No, it doesn't look like. All right, well, we're sorry about that. We're going to try to get it working, I guess, for the next show. See, why can't we just have anything nice here on the show? Why can't we just have something nice? Can't have nice things around here. But yeah, he only carried the ball 12 times despite Ohio State struggling to throw the ball. And obviously being upset, and you can understand, but was he in the wrong? Absolutely. I know you're upset, but everything Ohio State has done for Ezekiel Elliott, especially head coach Urban Meyer, all the good things he was saying about him from the beginning and recruiting him and stuff like that, you can't just go and attack your school like that. I know you're upset. It wasn't the way you ended, but your season's not over. Remember, you're the Ohio State University. You lost last year. You still made it to to the playoffs, and you won it all. This shouldn't really affect you because you're not like, TCU. You can lose a game and you'll still be in, just like Alabama. So, sorry, that's me being salty. He shouldn't take a shot like that to Ohio State, and because everybody's upset. And obviously, whether it was your last game and you planned on leaving after your junior year anyway, or was it emotions or whatever, NFL scouts are going to look at this. So what happens when you lose in the playoffs or something, or you're losing and you're having a down year, your team's having a down year in the NFL, so you're just going to call out your coaches. You're going to call out your play calling. That causes multiple problems in the locker room between teammates, between coaching staff, of course, and fans and everybody. That's just a whole lot of problems. How they're going to expect to say, okay, so you're just that guy. You're going to be riding with us when we're good, but as soon as things go down or you disagree with a few things, you're going to make it public to everybody and not talk to us. That's going to hurt him. That's going to hurt him. JT Barrett couldn't get things going as well. He was 9 of 16 for 46 yards with a short touchdown pass. Cardale Jones also tweeted that he was heading off to the NFL draft as well. So he is out. He is gone. It's incredible what is happening. They are all leaving. Just like that. They hop off the train. Last bit of news of college football before we go through recapping some games and switch on over to the NFL. Utah running back Devontae Booker has played his final game for 13th ranked Utah Utes. Head coach Kyle Whittingham said Booker won't be back in time for a bowl game after having surgery on his left knee Thursday to repair a torn meniscus. Obviously, we talked about on Friday that his father, Ronnie Booker, was hopeful Thursday that his son could at least play in a bowl game if it was late enough, and he was confident that Booker will at least be able to participate in the Senior Bowl on January 30th. So we'll just have to see. Obviously, for Utah, he was number 2 in rushing touchdowns, so 3rd in the Pac-12 in rushing yards. And he overall in school history for Devontae Booker, he is 3rd in school history with 2,773 yards rushing. Last bit is Syracuse fired their head coach Scott Schaefer after a 13-23 record during his time there. He will coach the last game versus Boston College, but after that, he is gone as well. So I just retweeted. I saw someone tweet this out. Let me check real quick if I can pull it up about how many openings are in college football right now. Head coaching openings. Here we go. Looking at it right now. There are 13 openings with Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa State, Maryland, Miami, Missouri, North Texas, South Carolina, Syracuse, UCF, Louisiana Monroe, USC, in California, and Virginia Tech. All of them like that. Gone. That is just that is incredible. That is incredible. I was trying to look for something else as well in there. But the AP poll, nothing real too fancy. I don't think we need to talk about it too much. I guess top 5, or top 6, we'll go through it. Clemson, Baylor, Iowa, number 3, Iowa now. I don't think we're prepared for undefeated Iowa, guys. Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Baylor at 7, Ohio State at 8, Oklahoma State 9, and Florida 10. I know I said top 6. We just went through 10 anyways. To recap some of these games real quick, let's just lightning round. Let's go through them because we need to talk about some NFL stuff to wrap up the show. Clemson beat Wake Forest 33-13. Alabama beat Charleston Southern 56-6. Michigan State obviously beat Ohio State 17-14. Notre Dame beat Boston College 19-16. Iowa 40-20 victory over Purdue. Baylor 45-35 over Oklahoma State. Oklahoma over TCU 30-29. Florida Atlantic almost had it over Florida. Probably should have. It looked like there was some pass interference that wasn't called. And didn't go Florida Atlantic's way. Somehow Florida is still in the top 10 in the AP poll at number 10. I think it's ridiculous with some close wins over Vanderbilt and now Florida Atlantic. Probably should have lost both of them. And you're still keeping them there. It's ridiculous. But anyways, Florida wins 20-14. Stanford over California 35-22. Now, Christian McCaffrey is now one of my favorite players now. At first, I wasn't a huge fan. I kind of like, he's not that good. You know, people are just kind of talk about him, but he'll fade off. He's good. He's good. I like the way he runs. He's incredible. I think his name needs to be thrown up there in the Heisman talk. He had 29 carries, 192 yards for Stanford. Great job by him. And a huge game he's got against Notre Dame. It's going to be fun to watch. Michigan holds on to beat Penn State 28-16 on the road. Jake Rudock, 25-38, 256 yards, and 2 touchdowns. UCLA goes on the road and beats Utah 17-9. This defense for UCLA is no joke. They're getting better. Josh Rosen, 15 of 30, 220 yards, and a touchdown. Florida State over Chattanooga in those new uniforms, which are, they're okay. They kind of look, Arena Football League-ish, but yeah, all right. Dalvin Cook, 15 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. LSU loses to Ole Miss 38-17. Leonard Fournette, 25 carries, 108 yards. Navy over Tulsa. Navy, 16th in the nation, 9-1 overall. Keenan Reynolds doing his thing. Sadly, North Carolina beats Virginia Tech in Frank Beamer's last game at home in Blacksburg. I was really rooting for Virginia Tech. I wanted to beat North Carolina and also to win it for Frank Beamer. That didn't happen. As Virginia Tech North Carolina wins 30-27 in overtime. Houston falls from the unbeaten 20-17 at UConn. UConn is now bowl eligible, 6-5. Everybody labeled this a trap game, and they were right. UConn is, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to Houston's offense, why they couldn't get anything going. They only had 3 points in the first half. 3 points. Unbelievable. And then Greg Ward goes in there, and his first pass intercepted to lose the game. It's wow. Northwestern beats Wisconsin 13-7. Temple loses its third straight game Memphis loses its third straight game to Temple, 31-12. Temple gets the victory, and Temple's so weird because, they're undefeated. They lose to Notre Dame, and then they lose to UCF. They get blown out to USF, and then they blow out Memphis. It's like, what is happening? The AAC. And then finally, one of the best games, at least, for Oregon fans and people that are not fans of USC, was the Oregon USC game. Now, that was a fun game to watch. Oregon it actually looked like an Oregon team. Vernon Adams has this team going. He was 20 of 25, 407 yards, 6 passing touchdowns for Vernon Adams Jr. Royce Freeman went off, 20 carries, 147 yards. Braylon Addison, 5 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Just absolutely went off on this USC defense. And Oregon keeps it going. They improved to 8-3 and 6-2 in the Pac-12, while USC drops to 7-4 and 5-3 in the Pac-12. Oh, real quick, I want to go back. Go back to Friday's show. Go back. It's midway through when we're doing our college picks. And I said for the Northwestern Wisconsin game that Joel Stave, the quarterback for Wisconsin, would throw at least 2 interceptions, at the very minimum. Ladies and gentlemen, my first actual pick that came true, Joel Stave, 20 of 34, 229 yards, and 2 interceptions. Does Wisconsin really not have any other quarterbacks on their roster? If I was a student at Wisconsin, I would go play, or I would go try out for quarterback. I can't do any worse than Joel Stave right now. He is terrible. He is terrible. The worst college quarterback right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. 2 interceptions again for Joel Stave. I find it hilarious. I have nothing against Wisconsin. I have nothing against their team, but Joel Stave is terrible. I don't know why they play my quarterback. I don't know. That squirrel that ran onto the field during the Green Bay and Minnesota probably could throw a better football, and he's a squirrel. Stupid statement, but I'm just saying Joel Stave is terrible. All right, moving on. Let's go to some NFL news and ton of injuries again. A quick little note, though. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, by playing in tonight's game, Bills quarterback Tyrod Taylor should ensure that he plays in 50% of Buffalo's plays this season, which is apparently voiding his last year of his contract. That means he would become a free agent after next season. I have no idea how that works out or what happens. Usually it's like, okay, if you didn't play 50%, then you would become a free agent. But no, you played over 50%, so you're now automatically, you could void your last year and become a free agent if you want to. I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't, hopefully in the offseason, which my biggest fear for Tyrod Taylor is he becomes somewhat of a money grabber and says, you know what, yeah, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to let free agency come. Whoever offers me the most money, or he's going to make the Bills pay him a crap ton of money. It's like, look, you got your shot. Keep working with it. Get a little bit of a pay raise. Don't ask for too much. Help your team out. We'll see. New York Jets cornerback Darrelle Revis, who got burnt all day versus Houston wide receiver Dustin Hopkins. Him and center Nick Mangold suffered injuries in the loss to Texans. Revis suffered a concussion in the third quarter. And he will be in NFL concussion protocol in the coming days. Nick Mangold required stitches in his right hand after sustaining a severe laceration in the second quarter. It's a crazy story to it. Mangold, who didn't return to the game, will have an MRI today to see if there's any ligament or tendon damage. X-rays were negative. The cut is located between his pinky and his ring finger, and apparently he had no idea how it happened. He said, quote, "I came to the sideline and I saw some blood. I looked down and that's when we went inside. It was completely random. I haven't seen anything like this before. This is a new one." Weird little thing. Other injuries is quarterback Joe Flacco and the entire Baltimore Ravens roster. Joe Flacco suffered a season-ending knee injury on the winning drive of the Baltimore Ravens' 16-13 victory over the St. Louis Rams on Sunday, continuing a nightmare season for this Baltimore Ravens. Apparently, if you wear purple and black and play football, you will get injured. TCU and Baltimore are about the same teams. They've lost just about everybody. Now, Flacco has not yet had an MRI, but he has torn multiple ligaments in his left knee. That's what he said he did. And on the first play of the final drive, when backup left tackle James Hurst accidentally rolled up on him. If you saw it, it's a little nasty. He handed off the ball the next two plays, then spiked the ball to stop the clock for his 47-yard field goal. This will mark the first time that Joe Flacco has missed the game since playing. Since he was drafted by the Ravens in 2008, he started 122 straight games in his career, the fifth longest streak in NFL history. Now, the face of the franchise for the Baltimore Ravens is Matt Schaub. Yep, that's the guy. He will finish the last few games of the season, which starts Monday night against the Cleveland Browns. Not bad. Next Monday. The Ravens are expected to already. They were expected to rework Joe Flacco's contract this offseason with a salary cap number up to $28.5 million next season. So obviously now they have a little bit more work to say, hey, you're injured. We don't really know how well you're going to play. We're dropping this tremendously low. So we'll just have to see. But he wasn't the only one. Justin Forsett broke his right arm. He is officially out for the season. So that also has him, Joe Flacco, Steve Smith, Brashad Perriman, their first-round draft pick, tight end Dennis Pitta once again, and center Jeremy Zuta, all out for the year. Or not all out for the year, but all out for significant time, and all got injured this month. They're all gone the whole season. They're all out the rest of the year. Other injuries, it just gets bad, guys. It just gets bad. Devontae Freeman left the game for the Falcons with 9 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first quarter. That officially lost me my fantasy. Thanks a whole lot. Colts. He took a helmet-to-helmet collision with Colts safety Clayton Geathers. Oh, I have a name to go by. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you. I've now lost 4 straight in my fantasy because of you. Appreciate it. Because Devontae Freeman, he went off to start the game. 3 carries, 43 yards. Just like that. And he was averaging 126 yards total yards per game, which is tops among running backs. And just like that, he's out. Just for the game. I mean, hopefully he'll be back next week. Let's see, Patrick Peterson, he went out. He was dominating. That was a physical matchup between him and A.J. Green. It was fun to watch. And he basically held A.J. Green in check, going one-on-one throughout the game before Peterson got hurt. He got hurt late in the fourth quarter with the left ankle injury. And then next thing you know, the Bengals scored 10 unanswered points with Patrick Peterson on the bench. Maybe making a little effect right there. Maybe. Teddy Bridgewater, he also exited the game in the second quarter after being sacked by Julius Peppers. It was a shoulder injury, but he did return to the field right before halftime. Bridgewater started the game 9 of 10 for 104 yards and a touchdown. But after that, it went downhill. He was sacked, I believe, 6 or 7 times in the game by the Packers defense. Out of all people, the Packers defense. Come on, Minnesota. Vontae Davis, cornerback for the Indianapolis Colts, he suffered a hamstring injury. Trent Williams, the tackle for Washington, he suffered a knee injury on a 4th down try. Head coach Jay Gruden said after the game that Williams had a kneecap contusion and is adding that he's unsure on his recovery time for the injury. Zach Ertz, tight end for Philadelphia Eagles. He was also hurt early in the second quarter when he tried to jump over Buccaneers cornerback Sterling Moore, but the tight end was upended and landed on his neck or head and neck area, and left the game with a contusion and did not return. A news story that kind of came out, which I liked, and it was a good conversation between Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and Greg Hardy. Excuse me, something happened. Is audio up? We good? No, we're still not getting it. Okay, no audio, guys. We're just gonna work on it after the show. We're trying to see if we can still get Ezekiel Elliott interview up and running, and it still hasn't worked. So we're just gonna have to try another time. It's okay. But anyways, let's continue here. Again, Jerry Jones and Greg Hardy. They met a week ago on Thursday, focused on what Hardy could do personally to avoid creating negative issues for him and the team. Jones declined to speak specifically of what was said, but he said, quote, "He's aware that everything he does, his personality, his style, his enthusiasm, it's all going to be interpreted negatively. He's not aware of, if he's not aware of that, then he's hurting a lot of people. I think he really gets that. We certainly feel that way. He understands that and he has agreed to really work on it," end quote. Jones said he used his own personal experiences with criticism from the media to explain to Hardy why modifying his behavior will ease the scrutiny he receives. And then looking ahead, Greg Hardy was asked Sunday if the Cowboys' next game against the Carolina Panthers, obviously his former team, on Thanksgiving, means anything extra to him. So he said, quote, "Just a nameless, faceless opponent. Next game, got to stay focused." And then asked, how does he keep the Panthers a nameless, faceless opponent? He said, "Just stay in the game with my teammates. Got a great bunch of guys and focus on the next game," end quote. And then shortly after I was getting the show ready and recapping some of the things, there was a report that came out this morning that said the Dallas Cowboys, part of the reason they cut running back Christian Michael and Corey White was in part because they did not wear suits on a road trip. No joke. This is legit. This is not some like fake NFL blog website or whatever. This is legit. I wish I had that freaking soundboard right now that had that kid that says legit. It was. He said that was the reason why. That was in part of the reason why they got cut, was because they didn't wear suits on a road trip. I don't know. That's just weird. Now, a quick thing that we're going to start doing that I really like, that I saw and I said, it'd be great for our show to do, was to add a playoff picture. Now that we're, almost there. We're 10 games in, 9 games in, depending on, whose team will have bye weeks or whatnot. Basically, we've had week 11. About to go to week 12. Let us have some fun. If the season were to end today, this is what the playoff picture would be. We have the New England Patriots at number 1 on the AFC side at 9-0, of course. Number 2 would be Cincinnati, and the reason they get that over the Denver Broncos is because one of the tiebreakers. Now, Cincinnati still hangs on to the number 2 seed by virtue of its winning percentage against AFC foes. They have a better winning percentage than the Denver Broncos over AFC teams. So that is why Cincinnati is currently the 2nd seed, and Denver would be the 3rd seed. Now, again, this is all going to change, of course, throughout the season, but it's something to keep an eye on. You then have Denver at 3, the Colts at number 4 at 5-5 with the AFC South lead, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 5, Buffalo at 6. So, wrapping it all up, you would have Buffalo at Denver and Pittsburgh against the Colts. I kind of like those matchups. Steelers and the Colts, Broncos and the Bills. I like to see that. I think that'd be fun. 2 good defenses with Buffalo and Denver, and then depending on what Colts team you get, pretty solid offense against a pretty solid Steelers offense as well, depending on what team they bring when they decide to actually all play together. It'd be fun to watch. It really would be. On the NFC side, of course, Carolina, 10-0. They get the number 1 seed. Arizona gets the number 2 seed. They also have a 3-game advantage in the NFC West, which is huge. So they're 1 and 2. Green Bay is number 3. And really, it's not close because with Minnesota. Now, the reason Green Bay gets the lead over Minnesota is, of course, because they beat them last night because of the head-to-head victory. They still will meet again in Week 17. So that could always switch. They could lose a few games. Who knows? But we'll have to see. It all comes down to that last game in Week 17. Number 4 seed, the 4th seed will go to the New York Giants. They were on a bye this week, but they still gained a spot over the NFC East because Washington and Philadelphia, they both lost. Now New York sits all alone at the top of the division at 5-5. Dallas obviously won, but they're still 3-8 or 3-7 or whatever. So who knows if they make a comeback or not. And number 6 is the Atlanta Falcons. Now the thing is, they're not too safe. The Buccaneers, and I know it's crazy, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are closing in on Atlanta. Now, if you remember, 4 weeks ago, the Buccaneers beat Atlanta on the road. So they already got that victory. And the Bucs are 5-5. Atlanta's 6-4. They play again in 2 weeks in Tampa Bay. So if Tampa Bay could go on a winning streak here and then beat Atlanta and Atlanta keeps dropping a few games, next thing you know, you got Tampa Bay in the playoffs and Atlanta watching at home, which would be crazy to watch. So, again, if the playoffs in the NFC, if they wrapped up today, you would have, in the first round, you would have Atlanta at Green Bay and Minnesota at New York. Pretty solid games. I would much rather see Buccaneers and Green Bay go at it, Vikings and the Giants. It'd be fun to watch. And we'll recap some of these games, but real quick, we'll talk about some NBA news, and that's just the only NBA news because I keep getting criticism and we don't talk about the NBA enough. Well, Golden State is 15-0. The Golden State Warriors are 15-0. Is there anything else to talk about? Because they're most likely going to just repeat. I don't see anybody beating them. Not even the Spurs, especially not my Lakers. My Lakers, we suck. We just suck. Anyways, tonight, Monday Night Football, you have the Buffalo Bills at 5-4 on the road against the New England Patriots, who are 9-0. The line is 7 points in favor of the Patriots. Now, I'm hoping the Bills can get this. Come on, Bills. Please, Bills. Please, 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 please. Please, Bills, win this game for me. I hate the Patriots. Let's move on. Lions beat the Raiders. Oh, man. Matthew Stafford, 22 of 35, 282 yards. And the Lions win this ugly game, 18-13. And they improved to 3-7. Raiders dropped to 4-6. The Colts beat the Falcons 24-21. You got a 40-year-old quarterback and a 42-year-old kicker. They just beat the Atlanta Falcons. Unbelievable. Matt Ryan, 25 of 46, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. Julio Jones, 9 receptions, 160 yards. They tried to do their thing. Couldn't get going. Texans beat the Jets. Unbelievable. Both teams now 5-5. Texans win 24-17. TJ Yates holding. See, this is another stupid decision by Bill O'Brien. He said that once Brian Hoyer is healthy, he is coming back into the starting role, and he will be the starter over TJ Yates, who has just led both the Texans in both of his games to wins. And he was just picked up 2 weeks ago. It's ridiculous. I don't know. TJ Yates needs to be the starter. He obviously wins in Houston, and they just don't like him. And I said Dustin Hopkins earlier. I don't know who Dustin Hopkins is. DeAndre Hopkins is what I meant when I was talking about the Jets. I don't know. The Texans are just freaking weird. I don't know. So, Buccaneers, they did their thing against the Eagles, 45-17. Broncos beat obviously, Jameis Winston, 5 passing touchdowns. It's incredible. Broncos beat the Bears to improve to 8-2, 17-15. Ronnie Hillman, 21 carries, 102 yards. Marquise Wilson finally had his breakout game, 4 receptions, 102 yards for the Chicago Bears. I liked him ever since he was at Washington State, and I was just waiting for him to finally actually do something. He's been given opportunities. He just hasn't done anything. The Rams let another game slip to the Ravens, 16-13. Tony Romo comes back and beats the Dolphins on the road, 24-14. Tony Romo, 18 of 28, 227 yards and 2 touchdowns. Darren McFadden, 29 carries, 129 yards. Terrence Williams, 4 receptions, 79 yards and a touchdown. Everybody in Dallas went off. Panthers improved to 10-0 with a dominating performance in a rout of Washington, 44-16. Cam Newton, 21 of 34, 246 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Unbelievable. The San Diego Chargers, they honor LaDainian Tomlinson, the greatest running back in Chargers history and one of the best in NFL history, just for him to watch his team get demolished, 33-3. Alex Smith, basically untouchable, 20 of 25, 253 yards. He didn't have any touchdowns, but final score is 33-3, so I don't guess he really need any. Spencer Ware, Kansas City running back, 11 carries, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chargers dropped to 2-8 and now have the first overall pick in the NFL draft if it were to end today, which, screw it. I hope we do. I hope we lose every game. I truly do. I'm not being bitter. I'm not being salty. I hope the Chargers lose every game so we can have the first pick in the draft and draft someone good. I don't know. We need help all over the place. The Packers defeat the Vikings 30-13. 49ers get blown out by the Seahawks 29-13. Thomas Rawls, who takes over for Marshawn Lynch, 30 carries, 209 yards, and a touchdown. Check this out. Marshawn Lynch has never gone over 154 rushing yards in a Seahawks career. Thomas Rawls has gone over, I think, 200 twice already. Undrafted rookie. Thomas Rawls gets it done. And also, Marshawn Lynch might be out for the season. He has a sports hernia, which would require surgery, and that would knock him out for the entire season. Thomas Rawls, it's your chance to shine, buddy. Seahawks improved to 5-5. 49ers dropped to 3-7. And finally, last night's game, Cardinals defeat the Bengals. Bengals lose their second straight game. 34-31, Cardinals win. Carson Palmer, 20 of 31, 317 yards, and 4 touchdowns. J.J. Nelson picked up with multiple injuries on the wide receiver core for Arizona. He stepped up, 4 receptions, 142 yards, and a touchdown. So that is it for today's show, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as well on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever it might be. Like it, share it with your friends and family. And as always, I will be here Monday and Friday morning on the Short Sports Show. Follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Links are in the description below. And as always, God first, God bless. I will see you guys Friday morning. I'm out. Peace.